All right, and we are live. We are
We
live.
are. We are live.
Let's do it. All right, welcome back to the Joystick Jungle podcast. I'm your host, Jason Johnson, with co-host Brian Clements.
What's
And
up?
today we are going to be talking to you about nature's hidden connections. I'd just like to start off here and say I have been gone for a little bit. I've missed I think 2 episodes currently with
Yes.
school starting and kind of getting readjusted in my schedule and everything. We're doing good.
Yeah.
It's a good strong
Absolutely.
start.
Well, and it's sometimes you have to take a break, right? You have to
Yeah.
get back into a rhythm, and
Add some
and
new
kind
things
of,
into my routine.
yeah. Well, and routine is crucial. It's a little different for me, right? Because my routine has been set for the last 20 years. Minus some additions.
Add a couple
called
things,
children. But other than that, it's the exact same. I do the same thing every single day. I wake up, take the
Yep.
kids to school,
Yep.
play Fortnite,
Yep.
pick the kids up from school,
Yep.
Put the kids in bed,
Yep.
play Fortnite. That's
Yeah.
actually
that's honestly like
I'm pretty sure that's all I
great.
actually do all day.
Yeah.
If you were to ask the kids, that's actually what all I do. I don't
Yes,
actually
all
do
the time. every day.
anything other than that. But no, so nature's hidden connections, and I haven't seen any talking points on this until right now. But I love this because connections for me in the business side of things with with Triton, with Unplugged Unfiltered, connections for me are massive, right? And
Mhm.
so learning about connections inside of nature, I think is going to be really interesting. With all of that being said, I'm going to stop talking and let you host the podcast.
No. I like what you were just getting at right there about the whole business side and the connections and everything in the business world, because as a up and coming entrepreneur, entrepreneur to be, I'm sitting here and starting to learn about these connections in the business world and everything. And I feel like you can give me a lot of insight on that.
Yeah.
And knowledge as for I can, give you the nature side of everything with, food chains and webs and, how everything kind of exists, coexist. Without further ado, let's really get into it. The first talking point and, really, I think misconception will have to be dietary restrictions in animals like carnivores and herbivores.
Yeah.
With that, there are, super carnivores, which like you only eat meat, and then, herbivores, which only eat plants and can't digest meat. But that's not fully true.
Okay.
With that, there is facultative carnivores and facultative herbivores.
Okay.
Facultative meaning that if it comes down to it,
the faculty.
Faculty, yes.
They teach the school, they teach everything, and we have a lot to learn about them. So, okay, facultative feeders. Let's do it.
Facultative feeders. So first thing about them is facultative. The exact definition, I'm not very sure, but my basis on it is that if it comes down to it, they will do it.
Okay.
And with that being like deer.
Okay.
Everyone knows what a deer is. So
yes.
With deer, they can be found, eating grass, eating leaves, mostly eating plants. But on occasion, if they're lacking certain nutrients or vitamins, they've been, seen eating carrion, which is dead bodies or dead animals.
Okay.
Eating live animals.
Oh, that's zombie. So zombie deer. You're telling me that there's zombie deer out there.
There's predatory deer. They eat meat.
That's great. What happened to your chicken? Oh, deer got it.
Yeah. Actually, honestly, if we didn't have the chicken coop, that'd probably happen a lot.
Really?
Yeah. Because they like to eat baby birds.
Oh, well, I know that horses.
Yeah,
I don't
horses.
Know, I don't
that's
know
another
horses
one.
necessarily like to eat baby birds. They just like to mess with them substantially.
That's another one. Horses, if they're lacking certain nutrients, they'll take a snack, McNugget.
Not McNugget.
No, not McNugget.
Okay.
But then, on the other side of that, there's facultative carnivores.
Yeah.
Which would be like polar bears.
Okay.
98% of their diet would consist of seals, whales, fish. But on occasion, they will happily eat grass.
Okay.
It's just like things where you think they're super strict and there's nothing strict about it.
Okay.
Panda bears, they eat nothing but bamboo. On occasion, they'll eat meat. They're still bears,
That was actually going to be my next question, because panda bears seem like the most chill animal that there ever is in the world. But okay, so they'll eat meat as well.
Panda bears are like the worst bear in my opinion
Okay,
because they just don't really know how to bear. I mean, they're
but
the only
that's
bear
the
that
best thing.
primarily eats vegetables.
I love panda bears because they're like the cutest little things ever, and
Yeah.
they just roll around, and they have no common sense, which is
No,
I
they
think
really don't.
it's great to watch.
Yeah,
But,
fun fact about panda bears: if a mother has twins, she'll only take care of one of them.
oh really?
Yeah, so the other one just gets left.
Sorry, the strongest survive.
Maybe that's why they're endangered.
Probably, yeah. Their mothers are not great.
One
mothers.
parenting at a time.
Oh, that's awesome. So a panda bear, is that considered a herbivore, or is it a omnivore or a carnivore? Like, what is like classified? Like, would a panda bear be?
That's the big thing about the classifications.
Okay.
They're very I would say like not inaccurate, but they're not complete.
Okay.
Because there's herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores, plant eaters, things that eat both,
Yeah.
and then things that eat meat. But
Okay.
with that, everything's flipped on its head because in a certain situation, everything will eat everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for that, I would say panda bears, I would be, everything's an omnivore.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it will eat something else, but it's primarily, a herbivore or a carnivore, where the facultative come from.
Okay.
That adds in, primarily this is what it does,
Yeah.
but on occasion, this is, what it may do.
Okay. Nice.
So that's where the word facultative comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I know you kind of said like if they're lacking in nutrients, but like so why does a facultative omnivore or carnivore? So there's never actually a facultative omnivore doesn't exist, right? Because there's no there's no controlling it. There's no faculty that can control an omnivore. But why does why does that matter? What does the facultative side of ththings matter?
It matters in the basis of, I would say, like the food chain.
Okay.
Keeping nutrients flowing and cycling.
Yeah.
Because, with, deer, let's say there's a lot of deer in an area and there's not any, there's not any predators to eat them.
At the lake.
Other
than the catfish.
Yeah. Therefore it sits and there's influx in dead bodies and carrion and buildup, and that
at the lake,
carbon dioxide and nitrates and everything else in the atmosphere, and then it dies. Life dies because of a concentration of toxins and everything else.
Yeah.
So those deer coming in and eating the dead bodies redistributes all the nutrients and everything that was taken from that dead animal and puts it back into the food chain.
Okay.
So basically, it's like scavengers, keeping the food chain running.
Yeah.
I feel like I just like ran in a circle with it, but that's what the food chain is.
So when it comes down to it, it's not necessarily that they're just surviving, but it's a strategy that specific species has picked up over years and years and years to make sure that it is maintaining its, because it could survive if it didn't have that, but it wouldn't flourish necessarily.
It keeps them from, I would say, basically like dying off.
Yeah.
It keeps their, bloodline and everything running, that species going.
Yeah.
Fish tanks, that's another one. If you don't have the right balance in chemicals and there's too much ammonia or nitrates, then the fish die.
Yeah.
That's why you need other things in there to take care of it.
Which is crazy to me that a fish tank can be such a sensitive ecosystem where we have fish living in our pond, which is full of cow manure all the time.
Cow manure. But then with that, there's other facts that come over the cows, they stir up the water, they keep it moving.
Yeah.
So it's not just a stagnant body of water.
Well, and that goes back to the point that, and I think one of the things that those hidden connections, right, is that ecosystems are so interconnected, right? They're
True.
Not just on the diet side of things, but in all aspects of an ecosystem.
Life, yeah.
They're so interconnected.
Way of life. Everything's intertwined.
And it's crazy because, like my favorite movie of all times, one of my favorite movie of all times is Avatar, right?
Yes.
Avatar is so big on like the ecosystem being interconnected. Like you have the tree of Awa and it's everything is responding to everything in the not tenth of degree, but hundreds of thousands of degrees. And I think that there's whether you believe in it from like a mother nature side of things, or whether you believe in it from a just looking at like how nature is structured. I mean, everything is so perfectly laid out,
Mhm.
and the animals have evolved and things have changed to make sure that, because of course their habitat is getting smaller,
Mhm.
but they still have to sustain the same amount that they were
Yeah.
sustaining 100,000 years ago.
I say that right there is where like strategy comes in.
Yeah.
It's about, animal intelligence and adaptation at that point. Because let's say, there are a whole bunch of deer eating grass.
Yeah.
Eventually the grass is going to run out.
Yeah.
So let's say, they eat another deer here or there that's been hit by a car.
Yeah.
I mean, things happen. Or they might see baby birds or anything else. You know, they decide to take a different dietary choice and get their nutrients from somewhere else that sustains the grass.
Yeah.
Then they can therefore keep living on from it.
Yeah, well, and it's I mean, we see it all the time in the chickens, right? The
Mhm.
chickens they will eat what they need. Like some
They
days,
will.
all you'll do is, and they're gonna have a full bucket of feed, but all they're
Mhm.
gonna do is eat grass. And
Yep.
then the next day, they're gonna crack open their own eggs and eat the
Mhm.
eggshells because they need calcium. I mean,
Yep.
it's pretty crazy, how that it's just all so
Yeah,
interconnected.
animal nature.
No, I mean, and we're talking about, so from the land dwelling side, but
Mhm.
like on the ocean side of things, is this a common occurrence in the ocean side of things? Do you see different animals in the oceans that maybe stray from what their original diet was? I mean, is that, or is it just like a land dwelling animal, mammal kind of a deal?
I would say it kind of is a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
Because like an example that immediately popped to my head would be like pufferfish.
Okay.
They sit there and they eat kelp and plants and
Yeah.
phytoplankton, which is small organisms,
Uh-huh.
but it's basically
I know what plankton is. I've seen SpongeBob.
yeah,
No, I'm just
really small, basic organisms.
all he's trying to
But
do is just steal the Krusty Krab's
yeah,
secret recipe.
but occasionally there's predatory pufferfish that eat other fish and uh crustaceans.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pistol shrimp, right?
Yeah.
Another, I imagine. Well, I don't. Does the pistol shrimp actually eat like it like eats other shrimp and
It
stuff?
eats other shrimp and other things.
So.
But with that, I would say that's an omnivore because it also eats kelp and
Okay.
plants and other things.
Yeah.
So I would say it's kind of the same with dietary choices. If it's lacking something or it's an easy meal, I feel like that's where it kind of fits in. In the
Okay.
ocean, it's more of what's easiest thing to survive.
Okay.
So you're sitting there and you see a shrimp passing by. Shrimp scampi.
Yeah. Shrimp a la mode.
Yes.
Nice.
Another thing, keep on the ocean. We can get to part 2, of this podcast. Whales and krill.
Yeah.
Baleen whales, which are, the blue whale, humpback whale, basically non-toothed whales. So not sperm whales or anything that eat like squid and other things.
Yeah.
But ones that have baleen, which is that kind of like bristly brush stuff in their mouth that they use to filter feed, eating mostly krill.
Yeah.
It's like 98% of their, diet. And then phytoplankton. But with that, with whaling and climate change, the decrease in whales has led to a decrease in krill.
Okay.
Which is a scientific phenomenon.
Yeah.
Because usually if you have a prey item, you take away the predators, they flourish, they bloom. But with krill, it's the complete opposite. They die off and they get smaller.
Okay.
And for a long time, they didn't really understand why this was until they started studying, more of the whales and everything and what they were doing to the ecosystem. And with that, when a whale eats a whole bunch of krill, when they have a poop, which I forgot what it's specifically called, it's like a whale bloom or something like that. But when they poop, they release all of the nutrients and everything back into the water.
Yeah.
And that causes a boost in phytoplankton, which boosts the fish population and everything else. And everything just kind of goes up from there, restarts that life cycle again, the food chain. And phytoplankton is the number one thing that krill eat.
Okay.
So the more whales, the more krill, and they live off of each other.
Yeah.
If krill die off, whales die off. Why whales die off, krill die off.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of the hidden connections, the things you never see. Blue whale, biggest animal on earth.
Yeah.
And krill, about that big.
Yeah.
So it's just like things you wouldn't usually think matter.
Yeah.
You take one thing out of the food chain and everything falls apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, like you said, it's all connected, right? If one thing struggles, they all struggle because there's a very and that goes back again to the fish tank, right?
Mhm.
All water ecosystems are very sensitive
Yeah.
ecosystems.
I feel like they're dependent on the variables in them,
oh, absolutely. I mean,
especially the animals.
yeah, and so if you change one major aspect of an ecosystem, it can affect even the smallest, like the phytoplankton, right? If the
Yeah.
phytoplankton aren't being fed, then even the smaller, or the just a bit bigger organisms that feed the biggest organisms,
Mhm.
which being the blue whale,
Mhm.
right? Is they don't grow. And I
They
can't
don't.
imagine how much krill a blue whale eats in a day, but
So much.
I can't imagine it's, I don't know, more than or less than, like, I don't know, a tablespoon. So imagine it takes quite a bit to grow a blue whale to the
Yeah.
size a blue whale is.
True that.
But I mean, it's really interesting because it's a big loop. I mean, it goes back to that ecosystem cycle, right?
Mhm.
It's a big loop, and as you were saying, like, it's a big loop powered by poop. I mean,
Yeah.
and because if the whales don't do
The
that,
redistribution of nutrients.
it doesn't give it that nutrients. It's pretty crazy to see. I mean,
Yeah.
for sure. So
Also, this is a little bit different, science, not per se like ecology or s- whoa, ecology or like habitats or ecosystems.
yeah,
This is more of like matter, like the law of matter. We kind of get into like what Newton was talking about and
Yeah.
Einstein, but matter doesn't disappear.
yeah,
It just rearranges itself and comes back a different way. And I feel like that's how the food chain kind of presents itself.
yeah,
Nutrients doesn't just disappear. If that would happen, everything falls apart. So
Yeah.
it has to be redistributed some type of way
yeah.
where it comes back around full circle.
Well, I saw an interesting thing. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about,
Continue.
but
I'm curious.
but it's an interesting thing. And it said that for every, and I'm drinking this bottle of water, not wanting to think about this, but every molecule of this body, or of this water,
Mhm.
every single molecule has at some point passed through a human body at least 10 times.
Most likely, I wouldn't be surprised.
And
the human body is like 72% water.
But it's crazy to think that there's not a molecule of water on this earth that hasn't passed through some body at least 10 times.
And that brings me back to something very, very funny. Kids movie. Water has memory because it's
Okay, we're getting
everlasting.
elemental now on this one.
Yes, water has memory.
No, that'd be Frozen.
That'd be Frozen.
Yeah, never mind.
Correct.
Yeah, no, huh? Okay, hold off. I'm back.
Hold
I'm
on,
tracking.
hold on.
I'm tracking.
We're
Let's do it. Okay.
It was just like water has memory. It's been around since forever and it's
Yeah.
everlasting. It doesn't disappear.
Yeah.
You think about the water cycle and it sits there and it just evaporates and then comes back to water, liquid form.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
for sure.
ice, solid form. But
Yeah.
that's probably why all these dangerous diseases and like they're bringing back dire wolves and mammoths
Oh, yeah.
because of water having memory and the ice
Yeah.
preserving it.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Jurassic Park or parks.
Yes.
I know how it
Ice
all works.
Age.
Yeah, Ice Age. Yeah, we just need more SIDS. So we talk about the ecosystem and everything being
Mhm.
connected and where it comes from. But like, if you were to say, this is the most important animals on the earth, right? If you could look at it and classify some of, I don't know, maybe the top 3 or 4 of the most important animals that are out there on earth and the difference that they make, what would you say the top 4 most important animals on earth would be?
2 of them I feel like we already covered. So I'm gonna add a couple small entries.
Yeah.
But start with the ones we already know.
Yeah.
Phytoplankton.
Okay. Yeah.
Fun fact about phytoplankton is that they give about 50% of the Earth's oxygen.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't just come from trees.
Okay.
More of it comes from the ocean than it does land.
Wow. Okay.
Phytoplankton give us so much oxygen.
Yeah.
So without them, obviously there'd be less oxygen. That leads to, I'm not going to say stunted growth, but I'm go off of past examples down, like not the carboniferous period, but back in prehistoric times.
Okay.
When there was an influx in insects in size, dragonflies the size of eagles and stuff like that, because
that would be
of
terrifying.
terrifying because of the boost in oxygen. there was a huge boost in plankton, everything, and oxygen coming from the ocean when everything was evolving. So therefore, the trees were bigger, the insects were bigger, the animals were bigger.
Yeah.
So I would say, with what we currently have and already being reduced, if we lost more oxygen, we'd probably, just turn into pygmy people.
Okay. That's good to know.
More dwarves. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, I mean, if there was more oxygen, wouldn't that also encourage us to be bigger?
Yes.
Like, I mean, we could be giants.
A boost in oxygen. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, the more oxygen we have, the more our body's cells can duplicate. The more it can duplicate, the more we could grow. I mean, and I'm not 100% a believer that we haven't had giants on this earth.
Oh no, I fully believe that we have.
And some of the mountains and some of the peaks that are out there, you go, okay, that is a tree stump, 100% a tree stump. So, and I've seen Tafiti on Moana. I know that it's actually an island. So that was from a island god. So, anyways,
get back to it. Another one we already kind of covered over. Whales.
Yeah.
Whale poop being fertilizer. I mean, there's a lot of animals, and their poop being fertilizer, manure. There's one, you being a farmer and everything. A lot about that.
Yeah.
Propagating plants.
There's not a shortness of manure on our property.
No, not in the slightest. But with that being, it really boosts the ecosystem. It fertilizes growth.
Yeah.
And that kind of boosts the ocean. We boost the ocean, we boost oxygen. So that's another thing. If we didn't have whales, we'd have less oxygen.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we talked about phytoplankton. We talked about whales. I know that, especially as we kind of done our garden this year, worms. I know worms they play a big proponent in so many things because they break down a lot of organic matters. They fertilize the soil, like having a very heavy worm population. It can be actually very, very beneficial for a garden.
Yeah, I would say it really like boost the garden's production.
Yeah,
because of the fact of eating all the waste. It's not like it has time to decay and really mess up the soil.
Yeah,
it'll sit there and be gone within a couple of days. Unfortunately, we've had worms and worm-like creatures get out our plants before they've started decomposing.
Yes,
and we didn't get to taste them. I bet that was tasty, but
absolutely.
They sit there and they really know how to keep the nutrients flowing.
Yeah,
keep the nutrients flowing.
Yeah,
keeping the life cycle going. Wow, I'm slowing down a little bit.
No, you're good.
All right, another one. Stick in the garden. Bees.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I hate to see them, but I'd really not want to run into them, especially when I'm out in the field. Step on one, they get pretty angry. But they produce they pollinate 75% of the crops and wild plants on Earth.
Yeah.
Without them, the food, slow down. It's been a long.
Food production. That's the reality of it. Is food production drops substantially, and
indeed,
I know that there was a big issue a couple of years ago where, and I think it's still a pretty common issue that the bee population has dropped dramatically.
Yes.
And with that, again, you think about all of the corn, commercially grown corn, locally grown corn. If you don't have that, apples, every single thing that we eat has to be pollinated in some way. And like you said, 75% of those are pollinated by bees. And we can't do it. We as humans, as advanced as we are, we cannot pollinate the way that a bee can pollinate.
Another one that's not really on our list here, but just honorable mention, dragonflies.
Yeah.
I would say they are very, very important to, the human population indeed.
Yeah.
Being they eat about 98% of mosquitoes a year.
Well, we need more dragonflies.
Yes,
because
indeed.
I hate mosquitoes.
That's why, I'm happy in the summer. And then when fall rolls around, I have mosquito bites all the time. That's when the dragonflies aren't spawning and they're not out anymore.
Yes. So that would be an interesting topic to do, is what actual benefit does a mosquito have? Because
they have a lot.
Like, I can't, other than a food source.
I'd have to look that up.
Other than a food source for birds and other insects, what benefit is there to a mosquito or a tick? It's like a tick.
That's a really good one.
Why
do we have those?
Yes,
that's a great question. Why do ticks have to exist?
Why do they? What is their benefit to the ecological society of
we have enough
things.
blood sucking, animals.
We have enough blood sucking humans out there. We don't
True
need
enough.
we don't need the insects to
No more vampires.
Yes, I'm not a vampire, but
I'm
I
not a
really
vampire.
feel like one.
Oh my goodness.
Thank
we
you,
love
Falling in
Falling
Reverse.
Yeah.
So awesome. So as we're kind of going here, so kind of give me some takeaways. Like what is the big idea? So we talked about how kind of the ecosystems are connected. When we talk about how, nature's hidden connections, right? So we have nature's hidden connections. The ecosystems are connected, whether it's, inside of each ecosystem, there's a connection. Outside of the initial ecosystem, there's a massive connection, right?
Mhm.
So if the photoplankton or phytoplankton produce more oxygen, then insects expand. And honestly, if we had more insects, we could have more bees, which would increase our pollination rates for our crops.
Yep, and just goes on and on.
It would benefit. So there's so many connections there, but kind of as we break it down and say, okay, here are what our takeaways are, right? Like nature doesn't run on individual, it runs on
does not
connections.
That's true.
So
And being there's no one most important animal.
yeah,
everything has its place. And if it didn't have that place, then we wouldn't have a place.
Yeah.
Put it like that. Everything kind of comes full circle where, if we don't have this, then we won't have that. And I feel it's like a team,
yeah,
I've played many sports, you've played many sports.
yeah,
There's no I in team.
yes, but there is me.
There is a me. And that me being you have a place.
Mm-hmm.
Without you doing your part, then the team can't function.
Absolutely.
It's like a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
We'll hate for one of our tractors to break down
That
because
it
of
happens
one
all the
small
time.
part.
All the time. That happens.
The Explorer. I mean, one small part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Ford. Yes.
Just kind of wrapping it up. Everything has its place, and just because it's small doesn't mean it's not important.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lesson that many people should cover and learn. Just in life.
Yeah.
Not even just with nature, but just because it's small doesn't mean it's not important.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
absolutely.
overlook things just because you can't see their value.
Yeah. Oh, and that's very true. I mean, whether it comes, like you said, that's not just a animal kind of thing. I mean, there's so many things that it doesn't matter the magnitude of it. Is if you do what is right. Right. And that's going from the animal side, right? They do what is bred into them.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen the bee movie. If you haven't seen the bee movie, you need to go watch it. But you have your pollen jocks, right? And then you have your I forget what the ones with the little finger on the top of their head to collect the anyways.
Yeah.
They all have
honey collectors.
They all have
everyone has a job.
They all have a job.
To run one collective hive.
And I think in humanity or in reality, everything that we do is you have to approach everybody as a lesson, right? And you can't treat people that they're lower than you. You can't treat them that they are insignificant to you. Is approach everybody and say, hey, what can I learn from you? What can you learn from me? And how can we make this ecosystem flourish? And I think if we looked at that, society might, I don't know, be a little bit better.
Yeah, it kind of takes me back to a conversation I was having with Mom this morning. She was taking me to school. I don't remember the exact saying or the exact word, but it was along the lines of, I teach you, you teach me.
Yeah.
What can I teach you? What can you teach me? We learn from each other. It takes a village to raise a child. I was just talking about, the way I've grown up, Troy being in my life.
Yeah.
And they were talking about my sisters and my siblings, and how I was their child and how they helped raise me, the things they taught me in different parts of life. And Mom being a different mother to all of us.
Yeah.
Because, when she had them, she was a completely different person than she was when she had me. So we all have different versions and different personalities.
Yeah.
And my point that I was making was every child has its place.
Yeah.
Her daughters might not do one thing, but I'll do something.
Yeah.
Or I might not do something and they'll do something. Every child has its role.
Yeah.
In order to, help the family and grow and create their own family.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as we're kind of outroing this, right? So So what is that kind of key takeaway? What are some of the things that we learned? And then give us an update on what we're going to be talking about next podcast.
So key thing, really like the main memo of the podcast episode, there's flexibility in everything.
Yeah.
Nothing is just one set way.
Yep.
Animals in particular, there's no dietary restrictions. You might see something like that's a herbivore, it will eat meat.
Yeah.
I have another saying, from my childhood, if it has teeth, it can bite.
Uh-huh.
So that keeps you away from a lot of danger.
Yes.
And it teaches you a lot of things, things you're like, no, I didn't think that would do that. It will do that.
That or it turns you into Steve Irwin. You're like, crikey.
Yes.
That right there is a mamba. Most vicious snake in the world. I'm going to pick it up. Crikey is angry.
Yeah. And then, what we could be looking for the next podcast.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, we were kind of driving over here, driving on the way to get some food. And I was looking through my photos from, my gaming side of my channels and everything. And I have a couple of different diamonds. I would love to do a lodge tour on the podcast. I think that'd be great. Go over all my animals and everything.
Yeah.
And just kind of give another in-depth rundown of Call of the Wild.
Yeah.
And then Rocket League. I'm currently Platinum 2 Division 4 or so. I'm about to be Platinum 3 again. I recently demoted back down. But I'm trying to get Diamond this season, get up to a new higher rank and new depths. I've learned not going to say I've learned a couple new things, but I've kind of polished my skills.
Okay.
And I'm growing as a player.
Yeah.
There's something, called game sense. Everyone kind of knows what that is. And that's basically your experience. I've been playing Rocket League for about 9 years at this point.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, I'm still pretty low in the ranking system.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that I have enough knowledge, and my knowledge is growing from new experiences and stuff. I'm learning from what I'm doing, that I will soon be in the higher percentile.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to showing some of the things. I was looking at my phone. I have a diamond bangtang, diamond fallow deer. I had a piebald red fox I got on my PlayStation account.
Nice.
It was just some photos and stuff I wanted to show the people, the viewers.
For sure.
Everyone that's here.
Well, I think that'd be fun. One of the things I do want to encourage you to talk about is our last trip to the lake, because you caught some pretty impressive fish.
Those are some good pics.
And I think that would be a fun to talk about maybe the ecosystems between different types of lakes and then open water, like river ecosystem.
Yeah, I feel like we could go over and cover, our ponds ecosystem versus the lake ecosystem. You just kind of talk about our daily life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really how nature ties into it. I mean, living on a farm, that kind of gives us a lot of base points. Yeah. But let's dive deeper into, what's really going on.
Yeah. But I will tell you what I'm not diving deeper into is the Lake of the Ozarks.
Tell me about
Quite literally. We can dive deep
we'll get closer
to it on paper, but I am not doing a deep dive into the lake.
Do tubing on top, but I don't know about going down.
Exactly. So
especially near the dam.
No. Things I'm not doing. No to the no. So awesome. No, it was a great podcast, and I mean, I'm excited. Again, I'm excited to see your lodge and do a lodge tour. I have to get back onto Call of the Wild because it has been 17 years since I played it.
Yeah.
But that would be mainly due to the fact that I am constantly working. Yes. And when I'm not constantly working, I am loving Fortnite Blitz Royale because it is
constantly sleeping. I mean, you have to catch up on rest.
But I don't
workless machine.
I don't do that.
Sleepless machine. I know, but you gotta get some rest.
If I can get 5 hours a night, we're good. We are good.
True that.
But awesome. Well, that was fun, and looking forward to next week, and I'll let you do your sign off. And
it's just really nice to get back into the swing of things. Took a couple little breaks. A little upset for a little bit because I was like, no, I need to get back.
Yeah,
but, life goes on.
It does,
and with that, you just find a new way. Like I was sitting there, I've been promoting my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers. Once I get to 50 subscribers, I can sit there and do lives on my own. I won't have to be in the studio. So I could be anywhere. I could be out on the dock.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great scenery.
That's cool.
If we were to go back down to the lake, I could be at the lake, do it again.
I happen to know someone who has a really incredible gimbal that just sits in their office all the time.
Really incredible gimbal, possibly to be used.
I don't know who has that, but it just happens to sit in my office all the time in its case, never used. So
we're going for that. You know, if
Heck
you're
yeah.
here, you're watching right now, please subscribe. I would love to be able to get lives to you more often, maybe twice a week. Who knows?
Yeah, it'd be
You
fun.
know, my school schedule and everything, how it's going currently, it's not too bad. It's not too overbearing. So I can, you know, hopefully give more content
Yep.
later on and be a little more stretched out, maybe every Wednesday again.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking forward to getting everything to you, you know, continuing and sharing my love of everything in my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's sign it off.
Yeah.
And make sure you guys go and subscribe to Joystick Jungle on YouTube.
The Joystick Jungle podcast.
Yes.
It will be sitting here with our beautiful Joystick Jungle logo.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got to get it. We've got to get you an intro and an outro so we can have some fun music or something playing.
I'll work on that this weekend.
Yeah, that'll be your this weekend task. But with that, we thank you. I know Jason is very appreciative of everyone who comes on here. And
very appreciative.
If you have a question or a comment based off of anything that Jason has talked about, shoot us a message, comment on this video and say, I have a question or I want to know about blank. Right?
Yeah, anything.
And
any nature question, anything about the video you were wondering about, maybe something a little more personal, like, you know, what do I fish with? Just random things. You know, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
And this video will be posted shortly. You know, you can hop in, just drop a comment.
Yep.
I'll be there to respond.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
And
share. Yeah,
share it.
That's
share it
like
out.
The
if
thing.
You don't
Publicity.
share it, who are you? Are you even a real Joystick Jungle fan? That's just the reality. If you don't share it, you're not a Joystick Jungle fan. But
I feel that's one of those things where, you know, a subscribe and a share will take you a long, long way.
Well, and you know what the crazy part is I know that it's so expensive to subscribe to a YouTube channel, and I know it's so expensive to share, because I mean you have to take the 2 seconds to do it, and it costs you $0.
Like,
so
honestly,
it takes nothing. It costs you nothing to do it. So do it right now. And with that, we will be on probably next week.
Yeah, next week.
Unless something crazy comes up.
Yeah. I mean, y'all just flood me with subscribers.
Yeah.
We sit there and I'll be able to go on a little bit sooner. But
yeah, he's gonna drop out of high school because he's got 72 million subscribers. If we hit 72 million subscribers next week, I will encourage him to drop out of high school and do this full time. So I'm just kidding. I know your mom's probably watching and is like, yeah, don't say that. Anyways, you guys are incredible.
Yes, thank you everyone coming.
Sign us off, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you everybody for coming. You know, I appreciate your love. I appreciate the support. Everyone that showed up for me, that continues to show up for me. You know, we've grown. This is, I think, episode 9. We're almost at 10.
Yeah,
we're gonna be, you know, in the higher percentile podcast at that point.
Yeah, but
you know, I've really enjoyed this. I feel like this has given me a new purpose in life. You know, something else to look forward to every day.
Absolutely.
You know, besides just school and what to do after school. This kind of gives me a way to break away and do my own thing.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Quoting Spider-Man right there, but but you know, it was a good podcast. Dang, I keep saying thank you. It's just, I'm so thankful.
No, you're good.
It's so great.
You're good
that I have this opportunity to really just share my ingenuity, sit here and entertain people, you know, sit here and like really give people new growth and lessons and learning. But with that, we're going to be signing off. You know, it's the end of the Joystick Jungle podcast. I'm your host, Jason Johnson, with co-host Brian Clements.
Yes.
The best, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you guys next week.